Live with us tonight from the Bayou State, we've got former WWF Women's Champion Rockin' Robin with us this evening. How are you, Robin?
I'm doing great. So far, so good, as they say.
Outstanding.
Yeah, I love that song.
Do you? Which version do you like best? The actual old one back in the 50s, or do you like Jackson 5's version better?
Yeah, I like the Michael Jackson version.
Yeah.
But it's funny. I mean, I just haven't heard it in quite a while, so that's what made me laugh. But
I thought we'd
anyway,
pull out a treat for you this evening.
Yeah, thank you for that.
For those who aren't aware, Rockin' Robin is a veteran, obviously been around for a while in the business. Has a father, Grizzly Smith, who's very well known, respected in the business, her father, and she's also has a brother, Sam Houston, if you remember him. He was in the WWF for a while, and also her half-brother is none other than Jake the Snake Roberts. Robin, with that kind of lineage, what made you decide to do it? What made you decide to get in the ring?
I just thought that maybe somebody in the family could be a better representative than Sam Houston or Jake the Snake. That's a joke.
I got it.
Yeah, maybe someone can come in and just do a little bit better job than they did. No, I'm kidding. To say the least, we had I guess an interesting family with the one thing about it is we're all pretty diverse. Of course, I mean, me being the youngest and the girl in the family. Jake, when I decided to get into wrestling, Jake, of course, was already, just catapulted into, superstardom. He was just well known worldwide already, and Sam was doing very well, holding his own, and I think in the Carolinas is where he, I think, got most of his fan base and appreciation. I mean, he
got some good exposure in Texas too, didn't he? Wasn't he with the Von Erichs for a little while, or am I getting mixed up?
I don't know. It was just really hard to follow, who was where, who went who. I mean, who went to I guess the different organizations. We were all kind of doing our own thing. You know what I mean? Of course, I mean, you knew Jake was up in New York, with the WWF or now WWE, usually when you start out, there's there are a lot of steps you take and a lot of different people you work with and work for until you get to a certain point where you're a little bit more recognized.
Mm-hmm. Now, you decided to get trained, and this is something I was not aware of. You got trained under a very respected veteran, Nelson Royal. I had no idea that you actually trained with Baby Doll. Was she trying to become a wrestler too before just settling into a ballet role, or was she, did she have different plans even then?
Well, you know what? I've heard that before and I've read that before, but they no, we did not train together.
So you did not train together, okay?
No, we did not. Her and Sam, and I might slip every now and then and call him Mike. That's what I call him.
Right.
But her and Sam came to Nelson's a couple of times, and maybe got in the ring. We got in the ring. We kind of fooled around a little, just doing a few spots here and there. But no, we didn't train together. It was like I said, they came by to visit a couple of times, but I've read on the internet before where that we trained together and we were both being considered for WWF, and but that they chose me over her, and that's just not the case.
Okay.
I think at some point that she may have been training to to wrestle, and maybe, do a little bit more, physically than what she was doing, as a valet. And, but, I don't think that, that materialized. But, to her credit, she really didn't need to do much more than what she did. I mean, she was fabulous at what she did.
Robin, this is why we have this show, to dispel all the myths and lies out there.
Yeah.
Zane, did you have something you wanted to ask her?
Yeah, Robin, very nice to talk with you. What brought you to the WWF? Did Jake's connection bring you there, or did you try out on your own, or how did you get involved with them?
Okay, kind of another strange story. I had, like you said, Rick, I had trained very hard, very heavily with Nelson Royal. And Nelson, just to me by far, was just the most incredible trainer and, technical wrestler himself. But he had a knack for teaching and training. I mean, we would spend days where it was just how to get up off the mat and still look strong. Even though maybe you've been, beaten to hell for about 10 minutes, it was still about, how you just get up and you keep going and keep going. And he would teach you just how to look strong in just kind of every position you were in. And I went in with the attitude of wanting to learn to work like the guys. I did not want to go in and do kind of the same old, the monkey flips and just swinging girls by the hair. And I really wanted girls' matches to start looking a little bit more like the guys, and to really get the men involved. I didn't want to be at that popcorn match, or that specialty, or novelty, I guess is the word I was looking for. I just didn't want to be that novelty match. I wanted to be, to where they did want to see us come back. And maybe there was some heat and some question as to, boy, that could have gone either way, or, that we got the crowd involved. And for the longest time, you'd see girls' matches, and they'd be on for 5 or 10 minutes, and then that was it. It was almost treated as a break in the rest of the matches. You know what I mean?
They're referred today as the bathroom break match, Robin.
Okay. Well, it was popcorn way back then. So if it's the bathroom, I get it. Same thing.
Yeah.
And so my real intent was, if I'm going to do this, which blew everybody's mind. This was not something that even my family, just when I said that I think I wanted to go ahead and the opportunity was there. It was a huge opportunity. Having my father and Jake and, everybody, it was a door, I had a door that most people just don't have. And so to me, that was how can you pass up that opportunity? So initially going in, that was the thing. I said, if I'm going to do this, I don't want to be, I don't want to go in as just another woman's match. And that's exactly why I wanted to be trained like, one of the guys. And, I don't know if you guys know, but, Moolah had, of course, her stable, basically, of girls, and you would go there and you would live there, and you would get trained for months and months and months, whatever it took. And she was more or less their landlord and agent. And that was just a route I really didn't want to go. And I thought, well, at first there was it seemed to be some backlash about that. That the politics even is that, well, you're probably not going to wrestle unless if you you've got to go see Moolah. You've got to work out with them. You've got to kind of get her approval. And I do believe that. I mean, if I'm wrong, somebody, I'm sure somebody will come along and let me know. But to my knowledge, I was the first girl to go up to the WWF without being under the control of Moolah. And I do believe that was something that she didn't really appreciate. But the biggest difference between the girls and the guys is, you probably know that the girls were trained and the girls worked. They all worked from the right side, meaning when they grabbed a headlock, from the right side with the right arm, which just seems so unnatural to me. Men work from the left side. Are you left-handed, Robin? No, I'm not left-handed. I'm right-handed, but right or left-handed, the guys work from the left-hand side. Everything they do is kind of the strong side is the left side. They grab a headlock, it's from the left side. They that's everything so they can punch with their right hand, so they can probably right with the right hand. Because most of them are right-handed. Right. And so when I did go up to WWF, that it was a little, it was a bit of a struggle in that, I had to. They also had to put girls with me that could work either side, could either work right or left, and there were very few of those. But I think your original question was, how did I get there? Was it through family and what have you? I know, sometimes you just go off on these other things, but no, we intentionally did not come out with, and for years I think people did not know that we were all related. To get in the door, yes, it was that had to do, I think, more with my father, because he was an agent with WWF at the time, and I had finished training and I was ready to jump in full force. And he said, well, they're doing a TV taping up in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and he said, it would be a good idea if you just maybe came up there, went to the show, and I could certainly introduce you. And of course, he said, bring you always, as a wrestler, your gear goes everywhere with you. And he said, bring your gear, and you want. At least if they don't know who you are, you want to start showing your face around. Sure. And sure enough, we got up there, and I was in the dressing room actually speaking with Sherry Martell. I had known Sherry for quite a while, in fact, but so I was speaking with Sherry, and someone came in and said, "Hey, we need a dark match, we'd like to put you girls on." And they asked if I had my gear. I said, absolutely. I had it on within probably under 3 minutes, and I was headed out to the ring. The funny thing is, I don't remember any of the match. It is a total blur. I got one punch in, I think, and so it was with Sherry. Yeah, it was with Sherry. Mm-hmm. Okay, sure cool. Was. Dark match, first match was against Sherry. Awesome. Against Sherry, that's right. And so in the match, the one thing I remember was throwing a punch, and then we came back out, and I believe it was Vince McMahon. He said, "Oh wow, she throws a better punch than a lot of the guys." And not very long after that, I got some airline tickets in the mail and an itinerary, and said, you're going to, for the next 6 or 8 weeks, here's where you're going. I was like, well, this is great. This is awesome. And that's how that happened. That's how cool. It happened. Mm-hmm. You brought up the fabulous Moolah, and I definitely wanted to talk about her. For the younger viewers, or not viewers, but listeners on the show who aren't aware of the legacy of Fabulous Moolah,
she basically owned the women's title. And when Vince brought her in to the WWF, she had the rights to the World's Women's Championship. So that was a very big deal. And she, I guess, upset the NWA quite a bit by signing with Vince and taking the title there. But you brought up the point of I hate using this word, but Moolah's brothel, kind of, where she had everybody all there. What was it like, I guess, working with the fabulous Moolah, knowing the legend that she is, and you saying that you really didn't get off to a very good start with Moolah? I mean, what was your relationship like with Moolah? Because you did join her team for the Survivor Series, for the first Survivor Series, if I'm not mistaken, and you were on her team. I guess, what was it like being with Moolah?
Well, I have to go back first and kind of, I guess, give a little bit of the story from what I heard from Sherry about a month or so after Sherry and I were working. She told me that, and again, first of all, Moolah was an incredible businesswoman, because she knew that her corral, of girls, if you teach the girls, and that was the important part about bringing up about, the girls work from the right and the guys from the left. So if Moolah's girls all work from the right, Moolah's girls are going to be wrestling Moolah's girls. And Moolah, of course, being the manager and like I said, landlord and agent to all of the girls in her stable, let's say. She also collected all of the pay that came into the girls, so it went to Moolah, and then Moolah, in turn paid the girls out of that. That was another thing that was not very attractive to me.
I can imagine.
As far as I don't really want an agent. I don't really want an agent taking. You didn't know if it was 10, 15, 20%. No one ever knew. And in fact, something I just found out recently, and something that was relayed to me, and there's a very good source. I'm not going to mention the source, but he set me straight. He said, no, it wasn't that she got 10%. Nobody knew what she got, but she simply paid the girls, I guess what she thought. The rest of it went to, running her, camp in South Carolina.
Right.
And she had, of course, the different, the different bunkers or cottages that most of the girls lived at one time or another. And, so I had decided, I really didn't want any of that. And I felt like being trained by Nelson, I felt like I was, just ready to go. Nelson said I was ready to go, and I was ready to, get in there and have some great matches. And so the fact that I didn't go through Moolah and somehow superseded or went around the normal protocol, I may have been the first girl that she was not getting part of that, part of that pay and part of that control, I guess, for lack of a better word. Moolah was in control of who worked with who and, who was sent out. And so I had also heard once I was brought on to WWF, nobody really knew who I was. They were like, well, who is this girl? Who is this Rockin' Robin, and where in the hell did she come from? And Judy Martin told me, she said that, and I'm going to clean it up, the verbiage, but she said, Moolah turned down and said, oh, that's that frickin' Grizzly's daughter. And I guess, she found out after a few weeks. So, that's that freaking grizzly's daughter. And apparently had given Sherry maybe some a hint or some instructions that it'd be best just to take me out. And so, needless to say, the first few matches that Sherry and I had were beyond stiff. They were extremely rough. And, I mean, every night I had, I was bruised and busted lips, and I don't know if I had a broken bone. So your
friendship with Sherry meant nothing.
Well, we weren't necessarily friends. I knew Sherry. I had known Sherry for a long time. Sherry would work in Mid-South when my father ran that territory, with Bill Watts and all of that. And they had brought Sherry in several times, and so I met her. I knew her. I was still very young, at the time. But it's a whole different thing when you grow up and now you're getting in the ring with these people. And, potentially when you have such a small pool of girls in the first place, potentially it's, everyone is a little cautious and, no one wants to lose their status or their place. It's like any other business. And I think, I know you know that, Zane, you know that. It's there are a lot of business factors to it. It's not just getting in there and trying to get the crowd to buy. I mean, that's your main objective. But it's also a business, and where people coming in can pose a little bit of a threat. Especially if you're getting good reactions from the crowd. And but Sherry did let me in on that. She said, that Moolah said, if you can, go ahead and take her out. Kind of like, we don't need her up here. And so it was rough. It was rough the first couple of weeks, and then finally I was told that you're gonna have to probably give her a receipt, for one of these one of these potatoes. You're just gonna have to you're gonna have to hit her back. And so one night I just you could tell when something's pretty deliberate, and you can tell when it's my bad. But there was one deliberate hit, and I said, this is enough, because I'm this is killing me. And so I did. I gave her a good one back, and from that night on, it was smooth. It was very smooth. And not that we didn't get hurt on down the road. We certainly did. And even most of the guys will tell you they never wanted to even come near the girls or wrestle the girls. They said, we were just way too stiff, way too stiff. So